Hey everybody, it's me, Andy.
And I'm Sean.
And this is the Commander's Brew.
This week, Winota, Joyner of Forces.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching the Commander's Brew here on YouTube. If you want to help us out, we're just inching closer and closer to that 10,000 subscribers. Big goal for us. Big milestone. If you can help us out there, we'd love it. If you hit subscribe or even share the show with some Commander playing friends who might also want to hit subscribe because they might like what we're putting out there, that'd be great. You can also go over to Patreon, patreon.com/commandersbrew to help out directly, donate directly. Tough times right now. Everything's, it's a pandemic, so, anything you want to do, whether it's, subscribing, commenting, just watching, of course, is enough. So check us out, though, if you want to get involved and help building the decks in our Discord. It's a lot of fun. Patreon.com/commandersbrew. Check it out. But let's get into today's deck tech. This is, we're dealing with some Ikoria creatures here, and there's a lot of fun stuff to go around. So this week's deck tech is, it's Ikoria is all about monsters and humans, and we've talked about monsters, but we're going with humans this time. We decided to build around what was one of the more exciting commanders for me, and I think you're kind of seeing it pop up in some other formats because I think she's pretty strong. We're talking about Wynoda, Joyner of Forces. 2 red-white. We're building a Boros deck here, but if you've been watching Battle of the Brews over the last while, that Boros has a pretty good winning record on our show. So
it's true.
I urge you to take a look at that. Anyways, Wynoda is a legendary human warrior, a 4/4, and she says, whenever a non-human creature you control attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a human creature card from among them onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. It gains indestructible until end of turn. Put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is a powerful effect, and there's a couple of different ways to do this type of thing, but obviously you want humans. This is what we are going to want to be doing. We want humans, but we also gotta have non-humans, right? And that's really weird. It's really weird to have this kind of card that wants to be tribal and then not that tribe. And it's so funny because it's not even like ages ago we did like dual tribal decks where we did I think the one I did was birds and wolves.
Right.
And, I can't remember the one you did because I can,
what did I
for some
do?
reason, only remember the ones I did.
I don't remember.
Yeah. So, but there's another one where Sean did it was like 2 tribes in one, and it was like how they work and stuff like that. It's really fun. And this is not even that because it's humans and then anything that's not human, right? So, in that way, it's a little more open, but it's also a very strange thing. And we mentioned on our set review, I think the real crux and the real the thing that we want to do with this deck, which is have humans come out, enter the battlefield, and then create, tokens or something that are not humans, so that we can just get sort of 2 in 1. We can have our cake, we can eat it too, and that's exactly what Wynoda does. That's what she's really great at. So this deck is just loaded with them. So let's just start talking about all the neat moves.
Working on a neat
moves. Yeah, so like I was saying, we want to get humans that create non-humans, and we want to, this deck ends up being, I think, a pretty mean token deck from what I was able to playtest with, and was quite impressed with the ability to really overwhelm our opponents really quickly. So humans that make non-humans. So let's start reading these off. Sean, why don't you take the first 3 of them, and then I'll pick it up from there.
Sure. How about these humans? Pia and Kieran Nalar, 2 red, legendary human artificer, 2/2. When Pia and Kieran enter the battlefield, create 2 1/1 colorless Thopters. 2 in a red, sacrifice an artifact. They do 2 damage to any target. We got Geist Honored Monk. Love Geist Honored Monk. 3 white for a human monk. Star. Power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. So if Winota sneaks out some more humans, the Geist Honored Monk grows while that happens. Also has vigilance, so there to protect as well as attack. And when Geist Honored Monk enters the battlefield, put 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. flyings. Let's talk about Knight Captain of Eos. 4 and a white, human knight, 2/2. When it comes into play, 2/1/1 white soldier, generic soldier, non-human creature tokens into play, and you get to pay white to sack a soldier and prevent all combat damage this turn. That's going to protect the team if you have to make a silly attack just to get some free triggers. Don't forget the humans that Winota gets are indestructible, so we don't need to worry about those so much.
Yeah, so it's like it's not too big of a problem if that happens, but it's nice to have, and it's actually kind of interesting because of just the colors we're dealing with and the cards we're dealing with. We actually end up, this is kind of actually 3 tribal decks in one.
Okay.
Not even 3 tribals. That's not fair. It's humans, it's non-humans, and a lot of those non-humans happen to be soldiers. So Knight Captain of Eos has some additional value. Another card that's going to help us with that is Lena, Selfless Champion. This card is awesome in this deck. 4 white for the legendary human knight. When she enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for each non-token creature you control. And then you sacrifice Lena. You can sacrifice Lena, and then creatures you control with power less than Lena's power gain indestructible until end of turn. There's a lot of indestructible going around in this deck. Also, not only just from Winota giving it to the creatures that are attacking, that come in off the triggers and are automatically attacking, but there's just a bunch of. This is Boros. This is what Boros does. They deal with indestructible stuff. Also, it's interesting to note that there's only a few. Humans that when they come in, they make more than 1 token. We've talked about P and Kieran. They make 2. We talked about some of these other ones. They make Guy Sonnemark makes 2. This next one we're going to read. Captain of the Watch makes 3. Lena is one of the only ones that has the potential to make more than that. There's a couple others we'll talk about in a sec. But yeah, Captain of the Watch also very good. Captain of the Watch makes 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens when it enters the battlefield. But also, Captain of the Watch, the human, vigilance, and other soldier creatures you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Also, and then, look, we're going to keep it rolling with Evangel of Helia. This is, this one and Lena, they're both very solid. Evangel of Helia, 4 white, 1/3 human cleric. When it enters the battlefield, you put a number of 1/1 white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield equal to your devotion to white. This gets out of hand, absolutely, because you often have an Evangel come out, and even if you don't have a massive board state, let's say you attacked with 2 soldiers, you attacked with Wynoda, and you attacked with some other human. Okay, that's not that much. That's a pretty small board. That's like 2 creatures and 2 tokens, but because of that, because of those 2 creatures, you might have 3 white pips out there already, 2 white pips. Evangel of Helia has 2 in its own thing, and then the other thing that you're probably going to flip is also probably going to have 1 or 2. So that's you're making 5, sometimes 6 additional soldiers, and if they live to the next turn, it just gets out of hand. How many triggers of Winota you're going to get, and it stacks up so quickly. That it's in fact the deck is so good with tokens that we even included the card. Evangel is great because it's a human that makes just regular soldiers. Well, there's one from the most recent Theros that does the exact same thing. Devotion to White makes soldiers, but they're human soldiers. But it just doesn't matter. That card is so good, it doesn't even matter that we don't care that they're also humans and then we're not going to get triggers off them. At that point, it's just we have 1 million creatures, so who cares what they are.
Would you say that this card slaps?
I'd say it's a bop.
Is this card? Yeah.
This card's a bop. Yeah,
Okay,
it slaps pretty good.
Yeah.
Guys, we are young and we know the cool terms. Okay, listen, this is the bottom line of this show.
Listen, I bet you we're near the cutting edge of people saying that magic cards slap.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to hear how many people have referred to Evangel of Helia as a bop.
I mean, people have been referring to Birds of Paradise as a bop forever.
That's true. I'm behind on that curve for sure.
That's the first use of bop, well before.
It is bop. That is bop. It's not a bop. It's bop.
Yeah, that's bop. Okay.
Bolt the bop.
So we're talking. So some other humans I want to highlight. that help with attacking. This is Hero of Bladehold, 2 white white human knight, 3/4 with Battle Cry. When this attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And when it attacks, put 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. So you get to stack your triggers so that the Battle Cry happens after Winota. So the Winota people that show up get Battle Cry. But unfortunately, these two 1/1 white soldier tokens, although they're not humans, they never entered. Like Winota didn't see them become attackers.
Right.
So they just appeared, they were born attacking, so they don't count for that.
Right.
This is similar to Tillinelli's Summoner, 1 and a red for a human shaman with Ascend, 1/1. Whenever this attacks, you can pay X and red, and if you do, create X 1/1 elementals that are tapped and attacking, and as long as you have the City's Blessing, they don't XL. If you don't have the City's Blessing, they will XL, but if you make a bunch of them, you just get yourself to the City's Blessing.
Yeah, exactly. And so these are two examples of creatures that are like, it's weird. They kind of like don't combo with Winota in the way you would really want them to, obviously. But they're both so good at making tokens and otherwise having an effect like Battle Cry from the hero that they're just good enough to include. Like I was saying, where it's like we kind of don't care that the first time they attack they don't really do much. Outside of the Battle Cry or whatever, or make the tokens initially, but like you still get to make those tokens. Like you would throw away Hero of Bladehold just for the 2 soldiers, kind of, And Tillinelli Summoner has the potential, because we always have the City's Blessing in this deck. It's a token deck. You have City's Blessing probably on like turn 4 or 5. That you're going to pay 4 and a red, and you're going to get 4 of these 1/1s that just stick around, and they're just triggering Winota for the rest of the game. It's great. It's great.
This next category you have titled Total Madness.
Yeah, that's true. I have titled this next segment Total Madness because of what I experienced playing it. And I've played with these cards before. Need I remind you, I have fully played with all of these cards before, except I never considered them to be total madness until now. So let me tell you what is total madness. Is playing Winota and getting a couple of Gold Knight Commander triggers. Gold Knight Commander is a 3 and a white for a human cleric soldier. So we're going to hit that with Winota. If it's one of the 6 on the top. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So, and I'm going to also talk about Cathar's Crusade because it's like the sort of, in this deck, honestly, arguable whether or not it's better. Usually Cathar's Crusade is easily better than Gold Knight Commander, but in this deck it's different. But Cathar's Crusade basically does the same thing, except it puts +1/+1 counters on each creature you control whenever something enters. So again, incredible, But the reason why Gold Knight Commander is arguably better in this deck is because you get this with Winota trigger. So if we attack with 4 soldiers, okay, we start turning things, and if Gold Knight Commander is in that first 2, you can have Gold Knight Commander come out, and then the next human that comes out probably puts down a token or 2. So that's going to be +1, +2. Like let's say conservatively, you put out 2. Like you get a human and a token from it. That's a +2/+2 for your whole team. The third turn, let's say that's just 2. That's a +3/3 +4/4. That it's you're gonna be adding. You're gonna get +6/+6 often in this scenario that I've laid out because you flipped over a Gold Knight Commander, and because it's a human, we're getting it for free. It's just it's so quick. It happens out of nowhere. The first 2 games I played in playtesting were disasters, and it was awful. I got mana screwed and all this stuff. But the first game where I was actually able to play, I flipped a Gold Knight Commander off of like a big attack, like I was talking about. Like I attacked with like 5 soldiers or whatever tokens, and I took my opponent from like 38 life down to like 2, and I was like, what? I just was not expecting it, and obviously neither were they, because they didn't have blockers, and like that's gonna happen in real life too, right? The first time people learn their lessons after a while, but Gold Knight Commander can just come out unexpectedly like that, and just it's total madness. And like I said,
Total madness.
Cathar's Crusade's also really great. If you ever get them both out, it's just overkill. And one card that works really well with both of these is Secure the Waste. And Secure the Waste is also total madness in this deck. It's X and a white for an instant that says put X 1/1 white warrior creature tokens onto the battlefield. So the big move that you can do with this one is obviously on the person to your right's end step, you drop Secure the Waste, you put out 5 or 6 tokens or even more, and then you just swing with them, and then they're probably dead, honestly, from that will probably kill someone because of again all those triggers. And if you hit a Gold Knight Commander or something similar, or something that's just any kind of anthem that's just hitting all your creatures, it's over.
What a fun I love doing this in Commander. Like,
yeah,
flip a bunch. It's like playing slot machines. This is probably why like slot machines are addicting, because it's so fun to pull the lever.
There's also the possibility of attacking with some things, having something like Gold Knight Commander out, and for some reason, like maybe they're all humans and you didn't get any triggers. Well, guess what? You secure the waste for 3 or 4, and that might be enough to also take someone down. It's instant speed. It's, we've talked about this card a lot on the show whenever we're making token decks, and there's no surprise that it comes up again, and is probably one of the best cards in the deck.
Yeah.
Total madness. And trust me, when you're dealing with a program like Forge or anything where you're dealing with triggers, it looks like total madness too, because it's just a million triggers.
Ooh. Yeah. I am going to import this deck list into Forge and play with it a bit.
Yeah, it's really fun. So let's talk about some of the human synergies, because we're not simply just running all token making and stuff like that. We do have a couple little human synergies, because that's what a lot of what the deck does also. Mm-hmm. Why don't you take these ones here?
Okay, yeah. So we've got a great enchantment, Radiant Destiny. This is 2 and a white. It's an enchantment, and it gives you Ascend. So if you have the City's Blessing, if you have 10 or more permanents. So as it comes in, you choose a creature type. We're probably going to choose humans. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1 as long as you have the City's Blessing. They also have Vigilance. So, I mean, +1/+1 to all humans, fine, but Vigilance as well is something pretty big. Yeah. As you said, we always have the City's Blessing, so that's awesome.
You're gonna want to be attacking a lot with this deck, so the fact that you can get Vigilance on your humans, or also alternatively, like I said, soldiers is often a good pick for this thing. Yeah. And it's actually kind of nice that it's, you get to choose, because you get to choose whether or not your soldiers get them, like your tokens do, or the actual humans do. So Radiant Destiny is really good.
And I think it's especially neat that, like, the creatures that come in with Winota have Indestructible, and they probably bring some tokens with them. And we don't want to chump with the tokens because we want them for triggers. But the dumb human that brought 2 tokens with, like, I'm done with you. That's the one I want to chump with. Yeah. So, like, I'm happy to give that one Vigilance and just go in and just be like, fine, another turn I'll just, like, bring it back.
It's true.
That's the one that I plan on jumping with. You have also got Shared Animosity in here. Recently reprinted in Commander 2020. Thank you. Wizards, thanks. 2 and a red enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each other creature that shares a creature type with it.
So yeah, humans or soldiers, depending on what you're attacking with, however many things you have, this is a great choice, and we'll just drop this before you attack, and it's done, right? Like,
it's done.
You don't even have to name it. This just automatically does it. So a lot of times, so you get a lot of things. Like, this makes math tough, because you also are going to have a lot of humans. You're going to have a lot of soldiers. You're going to have even some human soldiers. You're going to have a bunch of knights also. So, like, it gets really messy with
this human soldier is pumped by 10 creatures.
Yeah.
But this soldier is pumped by 8 creatures. So all my soldiers get +8/+12. All my human soldiers get +10/+12.
That's what it is. Ugh. That's what happens. And it's just like, well, it all equals to you're dead.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And of course, Sanctuary Lockdown, 2 and a white enchantment. Humans get +1/+1 that you control. 2, tap 2 untapped humans you control. Tap target creature and opponent controls. Great. If there's one thing ready to block, not anymore.
Exactly. Get down some key blockers just so you can get those early attacks in. This is really helpful for. Or maybe late game, maybe it's not coming together for you. There's been some board wipes or something like that. You can use this defensively if you need to. So it's got enough versatility that I'm happy to include this card in the deck.
Yeah.
those are some cool human synergies. Of course, we're Boros. We need to be able to attack, right? We got to be able to attack without worrying too much about what's happening on our opponent's side of the board. So Erois is a must include. We always, you have to include it in these types of things. 2 red white. It's a legendary god. It has indestructible. It's got all the devotion text. So 7, or it's not a creature. Creatures you control have menace. Very, very helpful. And prevent all damage that would be dealt to attacking creatures you control. So not only can they not even block most of them, it doesn't even matter. Eros is great. Dolmen Gate's also one we're happy to see recently reprinted, and we've included it a couple of times now. It's a 2-mana artifact that says prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking creatures you control. Lets us to swing freely with those non-humans and allows our board to just keep building and keep building. There are times when you don't have any of these things out, and you're still swinging with those tokens though, because you're just going to keep regenerating them, keep remaking them, and it is worth it to do that. But these are the things that are going to put you over the top and allow you to keep building. Audric's amazing. Audric, Master Tactician. Yes! 2 white for the legendary human soldier. 3/4 first strike. Whenever Audric attacks, and you attack with at least 3 other creatures, you choose which creatures block this combat and how those creatures block. You'd never choose to make them block ever. I've never seen anyone choose that, okay, you will block this. No, never. It's always you choose not to block. It's always the thing that happens.
My quarantine beard is coloring itself a lot like Audric.
It is. Yeah, you do a very good Audric impression now. And I think probably our favorite version of this card is Loyal Unicorn. 3 and a white, vigilance. It has lieutenant, so you need to have your commander out there, but you really want Winota out in this deck no matter what's going on. 3/4. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to creatures you control this turn. Other creatures you control gain vigilance until end of turn. So everything has vigilance, everything goes, nothing dies, and then you're ready for defense. Loyal Unicorn is really solid. That vigilance is so helpful.
Love this card. The fact that it's still a quarter baffles me.
It's because it's the best in Boros decks, and no one wants to play Boros decks.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I forget most about this card is that it has Lieutenant. We've had games, I think, where people we're just using our Loyal Unicorns like normal, and then you look down and you're like, oh, actually I haven't had my commander for like 2 turns. Sorry about this, everyone.
I've been cheating.
It's happened a couple times, not just to me, to other people as well. So
yeah,
keep that in mind. It does have Lieutenant. Very important.
We got a little bit of defense in the deck just in case, in the form of Baird, Steward of Argive, a Commander's Brew preview card, if I'm not mistaken, from Dominaria. 2 white, legendary human soldier, 2/4 with vigilance, and it's mini propaganda. Creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless they pay 1 for each of those creatures. And we've also got Bassandra, Battle Seraph. 3 white and red for a 4/4 angel with flying. Nobody gets to cast spells during combat, and then you can pay red that target creature attacks this turn if able. So that's a convenient way to, you can make opponents' key blockers have to attack if they're not defenders or have weird activated abilities or something, just to make sure they're tapped down so they can't defend. But the fact that no one can cast any spells during combat, you included, but at least this way no one can surprise you. No one can fog, no one can, it's all above the table.
Yeah, that's one of the main things Boros decks, attacking decks, I should say, have to worry about is, there's some decks in your meta that are going to run weird stuff that, not just fogs, but, redirects damage and all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh,
and
yeah,
we talked
settle
about
the wreckage.
We love those kind of cards. But yeah, Bassandra's just going to help a little bit. Plus, it's a non-human that can get out there and start swinging. And like you said, we like that red ability of making things attack. In fact, we run Fumiko in this deck too, just to make sure that people have shields down. And a lot of times we'll have the chump blockers for it. And they are going to really not like it when we attack them. So
no.
This deck is fast.
It feels good
furious.
to attack.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. I mean, you're going to get multiple triggers off of Winota right away, usually, with this one.
Right Nota.
Well, So we did have a pretty interesting surprise / discovery for this deck. It is Response and Resurgence. So Response is 2 hybrid Boros for an instant. It deals 5 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. That's fine. That's not really what it's there for. We're really interested in Resurgence. 3 red, white. It's a sorcery. It says creatures you control gain first strike and vigilance until end of turn. And after this main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. So,
Wow.
these types of effects are somewhat expensive sometimes. And the fact that we get this hybrid Boros version of it for much cheaper than you would, this card is like what? A gumball? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
one
quarter.
gumball.
It's a quarter. That's incredible. Like this is a even on a single use like a sorcery, like this is something you usually are probably going to have to pay more for. So it's just nice to always find another source of this ability too, cuz there's not a ton of them, right? And the ones that are, like I said, are on enchantments and they're expensive. So Resurgence, nice ability. It's just going to you're going to kill someone if you cast Resurgence. You're going to have a full board by that second attack, and it's going to be over.
Yeah.
Very, very good ability. Although we didn't load up on that ability in this deck, it's certainly something you could do. But it's a nice one to have. We have talked about these surprise discoveries. It's time for the budget report.
This is where we take all the cards, and if you're a human card, great, you're welcome here. And if you're not a human card, we don't want you here. But we do though, because we're
Yeah. This one, at first I included a couple of those, the new commander cards that are white that deal with lands. There's a bird. What's the name of it?
I forgot. Cartographer's Hawk.
That's the one. Cartographer's Hawk. We also had another one. Those cards are expensive right now, but these commander decks are not out yet, right? We're still waiting to get those in our hands, and obviously, because of the pandemic, no one's, when they do, who knows how long it will take to see prices be affected and stuff like that. So it's really up in the air. So right now, a lot of those cards are way more expensive than it seems like they should be.
Sure.
So we don't know. It's all based on pre-orders right now, and you can never tell with that kind of stuff. So I actually ended up cutting them because it makes the deck way more expensive. But right now, our most expensive card, you can get the for right now for low on TCG for 82. And the market, they didn't actually have a market, and I think it's because there's some C20 stuff going on here. But on some other sources I found, it looks to be around $120. So not terrible. And especially when we're talking about that the most expensive card is Wynoda right now.
Wow.
Coming in at around $10.
Standard.
Yeah. And Standard is doing some stuff with Wynoda, and it makes sense. She's a powerful ability, right? So usually we don't talk too much about it when the commander is expensive, but it's interesting to point out that she does cost this much as a Boros commander, and she's a lot of fun to build around. So
yeah, maybe
snap this one up. Either if you don't want it right away, maybe this is going to fall out of Standard at some point, and maybe wait if you don't want to spend the $10. This next card is one of the ones I was talking about from the C20 decks.
Yeah, this is Verge Rangers, 2 and a white for a human scout, 3/3 with first strike. You may look at the top card of your library at any time, and as long as an opponent controls more lands than you, you can play lands off the top of your library. That's incredible. That's like card draw as well. So it's like it's not ramp because you don't get to play extra lands, but you get to play them from the top instead of from your hand. So you preserve a card in your hand, as well as you get rid of a land off the top of the deck, so now you're drawing more gas, and then you start using those lands from your hand. No wonder this card is almost $10. It's $9.
Yeah, and it's a minor upside with Winota in that if you burn that land off the top, you're more likely to hit the next human card in your deck, right?
Sure.
Although it's rarely a problem. I think you'll rarely whiff with this deck. 6 cards is enough that you can usually find one. Lot. Yeah. You will still whiff once in a while, but like I said, most of the times you're not going to. And finally, Erois getting back up around 750. We're looking at now. It's this card's creeping back up. It gets reprinted sort of, fairly often that we've seen so far. I think it's been reprinted once or twice.
So how is this so expensive, but Little Unicorn so cheap?
It's got to be the fact that it is itself a legendary and it's a god.
People, it's not a lieutenant. Yeah.
It's got that mythic, people just love mythics, and rightfully so.
Sure.
There's a lot of powerful stuff going on here. Gives the
Okay.
creatures menace. It itself is a 7/4.
I
That's
mean, I'll buy that
nice.
it's more, but it just seems a little bit like Loyal Yarn's only a gumball. You kidding me? Like,
Yeah, it's arguably better.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you have to have the commander. I guess that's the major knock against that.
Yeah.
But it's a great card, and hopefully we all picked these up when they were down like $2-3, whatever they were, because
Hopefully.
it wasn't that long ago. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, you can shave some money off, like Verge Rangers, Iroas. I mean, that's almost $20 right there.
Yeah.
To shave off the price of the deck, and obviously Wynoda's the commander, so we're not looking there. But there's if you look at the deck list, check it out on TCGplayer. That's where all of our deck lists are these days. You'll be able to find ways to make this work for your budget. No question about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's talk about our favorite cards.
Okay.
I'll mention that I love in this deck Molten Echoes. Again, another C20 card. C20's got a lot of stuff for us here. Molten Echoes is 2 red for an enchantment. As it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type, and for this one, you are going to want to choose humans because it also says whenever a non-token creature of the chosen type enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. That token gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. So on the Winota triggers, when the humans just pop out and gain indestructible and all that, you're going to get copies of those creatures. Now, obviously, they won't be attacking, but you're still going to get their abilities, which are going to make more tokens. And then on top of the fact that, also, you will get, when you cast a human, because you're still going to be casting cards from your hand, when you cast one of the humans, you're going to get another one. And if that makes tokens, there's even more. Like, Molten Echoes should be under the category of pure madness or whatever it was. Because it is also total madness. It is so good. You have to exile them at the beginning of the next end step, but one thing we didn't totally highlight here is that there are a couple of sack outlets in this deck that allow us to shoot a little damage around, and Molten Echoes works really well with that because you can sacrifice them before that exile trigger happens. Very nice.
Yeah.
Love this card.
Nice. My favorite card is Tectonic Reformation.
Yeah.
1 and a red enchantment. Each land card in your hand has cycling for a red, and it itself has cycling of 2. I love this card. I love lands with cycling on it because it truly sucks later in the game when you're just like, ooh, the game's getting good. We're in the Act 3 of the game where everything's important, and it's like, here we go, here's my draw, land, crap. It's like, okay, you know what, I'm probably done with this Mind Stone. I'll sack it, see if I can get another card of there, another land. This sucks. Why not just be being cool, end of your turn, once you know, it's I'm good with 8 lands, and at the end of everyone's turn, I'm just cycling them away for red, just moving them through. I love it. I love this card.
Yeah, this is great. This card's I don't know, auto include in any red deck these days. I would think
there's too many auto includes now where some of them aren't. There's not room for all of them. But yes, I want to include this one in all my red decks.
It's a great card, and it works really well. It gives Boros the card draw that it needs.
Yeah,
100%. Right. And I know it's kind of this weird thing where Boros needs what? Ramp and card draw. Playing lands from hand isn't ramp, but land drops are important. But so that's why this really comes in the late game. If you get this card in your opening hand, are you just cycling it? Probably, right? Ooh, it's tough though because Boros really needs it late in the game though.
Well, it's so early in the game in this deck. I'm probably casting creatures to make tokens.
Yes.
Because as soon as I get to 4, I'm casting Winota. Mm-hmm. And getting a ton of triggers and getting this thing rolling. After that, so maybe I didn't have time to cycle it before.
Yeah, that's a possibility. And I would think that you would still want a lot of lands eventually, because you are still going to want to, if Winota ever gets dealt with, you need to be able to recast her. But it's tough. It's tough to say. I think a lot of the time you're just going to play the Reformation and be happy about it, basically, because it just gives you a little bit of security in that, knowing that you can't flood out in the late game. Yeah. So anyways, it's a great card, needless to say. Very, very good, and it's an excellent choice for your favorite card.
Ooh,
And that is it.
fun
That
deck, Andy.
is Wynoda, and it's it is a fun deck. They've been lately I've been very happy with the commanders that we're seeing. Whether it's all the weird mutate ones that are even really fun to play with, and the humans that they've made have great abilities on them. I'm loving it, man. I'm loving Ikoria. I'm loving the C20 stuff. Yeah, it's a good time to be a commander player, I think.
Truly.
Well, thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you're checking us out on YouTube, or whether you're listening, on your favorite podcast app, you can always go and check out TCGplayer if you're looking for these deck lists. Our affiliate link is in the show notes of the audio show. It's just below the video on YouTube if you want to check that out. Click through there, see the deck list. If you're going to buy any of the cards, great. If you're going to buy other cards, still use it, because it'll still help out the show that way. And if you're in Canada, obviously check out Wizard Tower, wizardtower.com, and you can use our coupon code and get a slice off ordering those singles in Canada. Thanks everyone for watching. This is a fun one. We're loving the new stuff. Leave a comment, hit subscribe if you're on YouTube. Again, we're trying to get that 10K subscribes on YouTube. It'd be really helpful. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCGplayer affiliate link below.
That helps us out too. And for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.